So it's really hard to figure out where Mini Hubba was because they completely redesigned this whole plaza. And I'm pretty sure that this is where this sort of gazebo thing with these pillars and a kind of lattice rooftop, and then coming off the edge was about a 3-stair high off ledge on one side that kind of dropped off pretty quickly. And that's where you have that like sick photo of Josh Kalis doing a switch crooked grind on that with his hat cocked back like that. And then on the other side, you had this ledge that went past the 3 stairs and eventually went down. Like I think Chico does a heel flip up those stairs in a line in the FTC video. I'm pretty sure that this is where Hubba Hideout would have been. And the way that you can tell is if you look across the street, you have this kind of brutalist concrete parking garage. Right here, you'll notice that there's this ivy hedge that goes on either side of the fence. And then right in the middle, you have 2 planters. And that's where that bridge started. That's where Brian Anderson does the Smith grind down the first King's Hubba in an unbelievable line. And they basically hired the same people that had already done Embarcadero to design this footbridge. Lawrence Halpern as a landscape architect, a guy named John Bowles, a guy named Mario Chiampi. And you can really tell when you look at footage that it was basically the same thing. It's like unadorned, cast concrete, kind of rugged, simple geometries. You would land on the same type of diagonally set bricks as Embarcadero. This entire area was part of the Golden Gate redevelopment. It was an urban renewal program started in the mid-1950s with the construction of the Embarcadero Freeway. Prior to urban redevelopment, you had like slaughterhouses and food stores and all that stuff was happening here. So they decided to do away with that. In so doing, they also knocked down a bunch of old like SROs and flop houses and cheap hotels that were like in the Embarcadero area. And what they build is basically slab concrete tower apartment buildings that you see to the north of us. They then build commercial office space, the Alcoa building, and then this kind of mixed-use shopping mall on the first 2 or 3 floors of the Embarcadero Center with these massive punch card-looking narrow towers in the 1970s. They didn't provide any new amenities for like the urban poor, but they tried to kind of do a clean sweep of the whole area and invite wealthier people in here. This building in a lot of ways is iconic, and it's built for Alcoa, which is the Aluminum Corporation of America. It's basically in the background of every single photo, including the first photo. Wade Spire, and I think like 1990 or 91 doing a crooked grind. You can see the Alcoa building in the background. This building has this diagonal seismic bracing that runs up like this X pattern going up the front of the building. So it's kind of interesting that this building, which makes aluminum, is faced in aluminum. It's like a giant advertisement for the product that is the source of their profit. There's kind of a point in like the 1993, like after virtual reality and after Pat Duffy does a mind-blowing kickflip nose slide down Hubba Hideout, where there's just this little like break. Steve Olson has his back 180 fakie nose grind, his front 180 nose grind shove it. He does a few insane things for his foundation part, but Hubba Hideout kind of falls out of favor until 1995 when Fred Gall comes to San Francisco and just completely fucking annihilates Hubba Hideout once again. And you see his switch frontside 5.0, his switch crooked grinds, he gets the cover of the mag, and all of a sudden people start skating Hubba Hideout again. And with the next few years you have Lenny Kirk, switch backside 5.0, switch lip slide, Josh Kalis, switch backside tail slide. Brian Anderson front blunts it. All these things start getting rifled off. And that's right around the time where spots like this start to matter as proving grounds. The early 2000s, they start adding shit to Hubba Hideout. Like that footage of Carl Watson doing a front nose 270. He has to kind of carve around a bench that's basically in front of the ledge. And so those benches were obviously supposed to like stop people from like skating there. On top of that, they start to add pig ears to the entire length of the banister. And those pig ears are those L-shaped brackets that they add to ledges to skate stop them. In San Francisco, those things cost $50 a piece. So some fucking contractor douchebag made thousands of dollars to keep people from skating the middle of Hubba Hideouts. Around 2010, the landing space got eliminated, and there are these sort of dirt gaps before you hit the bricks. They take the skate stoppers off of the things. They have a few more jams, like I think Aaron Harrington does a backside 50-50, ollies over the dirt. Ramondetta does a backside 50-50, front 180s onto the bricks. But around 2011, I think January, they finally just demolished the whole thing. I mean, as tragic and shitty as that is, and the fact that I'm now standing on a dirt patch, not staring at the fucking epic obstacle, it also reflects this new retrenchment and conservative attitude towards public space that I think cities were experiencing and exercising after all of the protests around the Occupy Wall Street movement. This plaza was accessible from the east side of the park up until that point. You can still get up to the Alcoa Plaza, but when you get up there, you're really aware that this is private space where we don't belong. The weird way that these things happen is a very specific San Francisco slang for crack, which reflects the sort of homelessness and drugs and crime epidemic of the 1980s. That nickname and the obstacle that it was named after ended up changing the way that we approach skateboarding, be it at a skate park or just like any city you go to. Like, people who don't speak a word of English will know what a hubba is. And the reason for all of that is because of what happened right here. Because this particular footbridge, which is no longer there, and those two concrete handrails, and all of the things that people did on that spot from 1991 to 2011 changed the way that people thought about skateboarding to such an extent that it's part of our language today. And I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Thank you.